All right, so Dan and I are here to talk about this video game that's sweeping the nation right now. Sorry, sweeping the world, I guess. I don't know. I gotta check the player count. I decided to get it anyway, even though I do not play hero shooters, which is Marvel Rivals. This game seems to be kicking artistic butt. I don't think we could catch up. Okay, I shouldn't say that, but I mean,
Right. This is Sean's doom-pilled
yeah, exactly.
analysis of the artistic scene in America right now. But in any event, the game seems to have sparked a lot of reaction
Yes.
from all kind of people, like people who are interested in character design, video game design,
Mm-hmm.
and fandom. Like now they got people cosplaying as these versions of the characters.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They're like definitive versions right now. This game's got lovers. It's got haters.
And most of all, it's sparking conversation. More conversation than the actual comics themselves. People are now familiarizing themselves with even more deep lore, like her having an alter ego Malice,
Right.
and they're bringing it in Marvel Rivals form, and now there'll be a bunch of cosplayers for that character.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a phenomenon such as Marvel Rivals that redesign like what am I looking at? I'm looking at like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They redesign like multiple characters in one shot,
Mm-hmm.
and now it seems like people on the internet are like, this should be the costumes going forward. Like this should be
I mean, they're
the new
taking
looks
it
for the
as,
characters.
yeah, they're taking that as like, yeah, this is the thing. I don't know, like, Marvel Rivals seems to be a very aggressive campaign. It's like aggressive at everything. I don't, it's aggressive design wise, adding like new gameplay modes. There is a rumored PvE mode that is, I don't know if that's actually true, but it's rumored that it's going to come. And if that comes into play, that's going to give this game added longevity. They're adding new characters. I heard somebody, and I will look it up after the fact, complain that there are too many heroes in the game. I don't think it makes any sense because they seem to be doing a good job at balancing them all so far. I mean, obviously with these games, some people need to be nerfed and buffed, but yeah, I don't think that's an actual real complaint. That sounded like cope, to be honest. There are people from the Overwatch community that are upset. There are people from the Concord community that are upset.
That's right, folks. The Concord community. We're just as surprised as you are. We had no idea that a Concord community even existed, but apparently it does. They are upset that Concord was taken off after 2 weeks, and now there's a I'm talking like mini fandom
Yes.
of aggressive Concord enthusiasts.
I mean, guess it's, instead of Storm, who I have on the screen, you will have Amari, right? Who was
Wearing like a, I don't know, green, I don't know, dumpy battle suit. The build of like, I don't know. You ever see Return to Oz?
no, I'll have
The
to.
sequel to The Wizard of Oz, like back in the 80s. They had like this character called TikTok, and like it was like a it was sort of like the Tin Man, except like he was shorter, had more of a round physique, and like he had a handlebar mustache. And he kind of like waddled around. He was kind of remind me of the shape of that.
Talking about this man right here.
Yeah, that's the you know that's the build they're going for America.
See, and this is why Marvel Rivals just destroyed everything. Okay, last year was not good for some in the West. Like it wasn't good. Okay, we had the squad game. We all know how that went. We had what's her name again? Mrs. Freeze. No, people you didn't want to see. We didn't want to see Unknown Nine. We didn't want to see Dustborn. We definitely didn't want to see Concord. Didn't want to see Veilguard. Ah, boy. The list goes on. It's like everybody was like got together and decided we're gonna do cringe designs, and then here comes Marvel Rivals.
Well, I mean, to get down to brass tacks, it's like America has a lot of psychological hangups at the moment,
Right.
politically, socially, economically, and it
That's true.
seems to have affected the video game industry when it comes to character design and just like the fun factor of making a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're just down to like, I don't know, busy work at this point. Like illustrating these wonderful landscapes. It's just like, I don't know, but they've sort of forgotten like just the, I don't know, the cool factor.
Yes.
You take a character like this, or you take a character like Sue Storm, and I don't know, and like they seem to just look at a game like this and want to make the anti version of this.
This is what mystifies me, you, and all of us. It didn't bring any revenue.
You're talking about the Marvel Avengers game?
I mean, I'm talking about everything. Like, just the attitude of like, hey, we're going to defy your expectations, and then it's like everybody just looked like they were in cosplay. I played a demo for that game for like 2 seconds.
Like, you look at these, look at this character select screen. Like, they just look like they're not. The designers aren't self-conscious on whether it's looking too flashy.
Okay, for instance, I have a question. Who was responsible for giving Magneto some kind of like metal halo of sorts that transforms into a sword? Why haven't we done it before?
Right. I think America, they don't think about like battle weapons as like a cool secondary addition to their power set.
Right. It's like all in the realms of things they can actually do.
Yeah, that's in canon and with the actual origins that they've always had.
How can they recover is the question.
Well, I think the issue is that Marvel as a company is now owned by Disney.
Right.
And similar to how DC is owned by Warner Brothers. Now, the thing is, like, Marvel Comics used to have like an evolutionary attitude when it came to visual aesthetics. Like, and they never quit no matter what their how many setbacks there were. You know, Ditko leaving Spider-Man in the 60s was bad enough for them, but then they still soldiered on, as they say. X-Men, of course, you had Neil Adams, you had John Byrne, you had Jim Lee, you had Mark Silvestri, you had like Joe Mad. And I think what keeps them on that evolutionary track with like new outfits, new redesigns that appeal to the youth is because the sales are directly tied into the fan base. But now It's wrapped up with like corporate stuff like, oh, Disney just uses the comics to maintain the IP and sell it to a bunch of people who like variant covers, and they don't read the interiors as much as they care about collectibles and stuff. Worst comes to worst, they could sell it digitally or not sell it at all. Like, when you have these kind of options, doesn't really give you the drive to say, oh, I need to do this, whatever Wolverine's doing on screen right now. I need to do that in order to save my company.
It's just, okay. So, I mean, I guess the reason that it's mystifying me and most other people, and this is, these are visual mediums. It's like art first. And they just like let everything go to the wayside. I mean, in comic book world, I mean, I hardly know what's going on there. Like, in American comics anyway. Like, the only American comics I'm paying attention to are indie comics, and manga has like been like tearing them apart for like I don't know how long. Dan and I always had this theory, especially to revitalize, like, let's say for in this instance, Marvel comics. Like, you know, things get stale, people complain about the designs in the book, or sometimes they complain about storylines, you know, like Paul, who, by the way, who's still around apparently. I saw a page where he was like getting berated by Eddie Brock's son. I don't know how old that comic book is. But anyway, like, there should be a way to like revitalize the comic book. So one of the ideas that we had in our head was like, hey, why don't you scour the internet to find people who draw freaking cool, gather them up, redesign the characters, get some cool new storylines, and put it in the books. And I've been waiting for eons and it never happened. So I have a shelf full of manga. And here comes NetEase. The craziest part about this game is it's not only people from the East that are involved, because they basically did what I just suggested, which is they went out there. I don't know who hit who up first to do this game. I don't know if they hit a Marvel or Marvel hit them up and said, hey, can you do a game? I guess that part's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is they went out and they said, who are the top people that we can get as artists to work on this game? And one of the artists they got was Pyru Daily, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who is an artist that lives in California. And then the other artist, whose page is Paluxury. Now I cannot pin down where they live, but I know they don't live in China, and that's another great artist, and they got them. So those are the two known artists that I know that have worked on this game. They scouted them out, saw they were awesome, put them on the game, and now we have gold. The mechanics of the game plus the artists that they scouted out made this, and it looks like they're not going to slow down. And I just want to know, how in the world did America just like not do this first? I'm very confused. You let NetEase take y'all IP and run shop all over you. I don't know. It's kind of sad, right? Isn't it?
I would say so. Sadly, outsourcing seems to be the norm in America. You know, people who have like 9 to 5s or kids, they're not going to be like Googling to say, oh, is there a future in American manufacturing or production and video games? They don't care. They just say like, oh, Marvel Rivals out, I'm going to buy it. I don't understand when they say like, you have people online saying like, oh, I don't like this. This is this try hard. Whereas how come it's selling so much? Like, it's sort of like America wants to play with like one hand tied behind its back. Meanwhile, like the East, you know, China, Korea, Japan, they get to have like both their fists, a Buster Sword, a tank,
right?
You know, RPG, helicopters, all kind of stuff on their arsenal, and they say that's okay. Like, all right, that's cool.
And they're okay like that. Like, you're okay in mediocrity.
Sure. Stellar Blade gets made, Bayonetta gets made,
right?
But because it's not here, it's over there. It seems to be like this invisible barrier where like all the things that they complain about get to happen over there, and they buy it, and it's okay. Meanwhile, over here it's forbidden, and they suffer the sales wrath. I don't understand it.